working with her and her expertise in affordable housing. Please give it up for Councilwoman Robin Kniech.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Elvis. And the mayor, all three of us really are partnering on housing. And this project really brings to fruition a community vision that began more than 10 years ago. And it also demonstrates a watershed in city policy. So briefly, if you'll go back with me, 10 years ago, we had passed fast tracks, and the government agencies that owned and partnered on Union Station were trying to figure out what this redevelopment was going to look like. There was a coalition of community residents, neighborhood organizations, labor unions, construction workers working together to say that this site, if we're going to invest $500 million, it was important that that investment benefit all kinds of people. So workers and low-income individuals, as well as the folks that we know can afford beautiful condos and expensive properties. That coalition was asking for this development to include affordable housing, and I was the staff member at a nonprofit that staffed that coalition called FRES, Good Jobs, Strong Communities, a professional troublemaker, if you will. So we started a conversation with the city and with the developers who were chosen, East-West partners and Continuum partners, and we said, please, can we find a spot for affordable housing on this site? And we had some negotiations, and we went back and forth, and we looked at various parcels. A couple times we thought we'd saved a parcel for housing. There was going to be a parking garage, and we thought we could maybe do the housing on top of that, but then the garage didn't get built. There was a spot we thought we could build it, but then the train design changed. And so again and again, we landed on dead ends and brick walls. At that point, I got appointed to the Denver Union Station Project Authority. I think the city had a theory that if they brought me into the room, I would be less troublesome than outside the room. Probably effective, I would say. But I was a member of the Union Station Authority, and the conversation continued. And then Mayor Hickenlooper was very reluctant because he thought this is very expensive land, and maybe we shouldn't put affordable housing on land that was this expensive. And that was a reasonable concern, right? Because this is public money, and you want to be frugal and you want to be efficient with your money. But we have a value in this city for mixed income communities. We can't just put all people of one income in one neighborhood, right? It's not good for them and it's not good for neighborhoods. We know that mixed incomes are important. So this is a true story. I had a luncheon with the HUD director, Sean Donovan, and I asked him if he would talk to Mayor Hickenlooper about the value of affordable housing at Union Station. And he did. And it was the one and only phone call I ever got at home from then Mayor Hickenlooper to say that Sean Donovan had had a conversation with him and he thought I had something to do with it. Still, we couldn't get it done until East-West partners, and I don't know if they're here today, but Amy Cara came through and they were doing a Metropolitan District update, and they had built much affordable housing in this area, as they had committed to do when all the things around us were built. But there was one piece of market rate housing that had continued to excel while the level of affordability had stayed the same. And I said to Amy, please, is there one piece of land we can think about? And she said, well, there's this one parcel. It's kind of odd shaped, and we're having a hard time figuring out what to do with it. I don't think it'll work. And I said, would you try? All I'm asking is, would you have a conversation? That's this parcel, and that's the conversation. So East-West partners committed, and they have been a patient landowner as all of these financing and pieces have gotten put together. So we need to give our thanks to East-West partners. And then Chris Parr, I said, would you do me a favor? His boss didn't know about it, by the way. I just said, please, could you do a favor for me and see if you could find someone to talk to them about it? And so a lot of community organizing. And this is what this project is about, I think, in the watershed for the city, is the idea that it's important to have mixed income communities throughout our city. There aren't some neighborhoods where affordable housing belongs. Affordable housing needs to be a part of all of our neighborhoods. And so that's the watershed this represents. And it's important because that clerk at Safeway and Supers will be able to afford housing here. The server over at the kitchen next door will be able to afford to live in this building. The person who drives the bus on that 16th Street Mall shuttle, that's what this housing is about. That's why we all partner so closely. And these are the folks who are going to benefit from the hard work of all the folks up here today. So thank you and congratulations. And I'd like to now introduce the boss of Chris Parr, who eventually found out what his employee was up to and got involved. Thank you, Ishmael.
Thank you. Ismael Guerrero again from BHA, and when it's your last on the program, and